Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Bhiryam Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti.
Take up some questions.
Yeah.
This Mahavakyas.
Yes.
Are they sequential? Because looking at the gravity of it, it looks sequential, but it's meant to be sequential.
The question is Mahavakyas sequential? They are not sequential as in the text. They are not sequential as in the text because it doesn't come in the same text. It doesn't come under the same thought flow. It comes in different contexts. It comes in different situations. Therefore, from that angle, you cannot call it as sequential. For our understanding purposes, we make it sequential.
Here it is sequential.
Here, yeah. In the book, when we try to understand it, we try to make it sequential. Though originally, these are all if you take the Upanishadic statements, they are all, we can't say they are random statements. We can't say they are random by nature. What happens there is, Tattvamasi, the boy Shvetaketu is not first told Prajnanam Brahma and that Prajnanam Brahma is Tattvamasi. It wasn't taught to him in that way. So you will not, you cannot call it as sequential there because first he wasn't told Prajnanam Brahma and then he did Vichara on, and then he did some inquiry on that. And then came back and asked the question, and to that Tattvamasi, then it is sequential in the text. But how do we understand it is, we understand it as the one who is naturally evolved, where the person can understand it, certain statements are said. Those statements that are meant to be received by a purified personality. The word meaning is the same for everybody. The word meaning of Tattvamasi is the same for everybody. The word meaning Aham Brahmasmi is the same for everybody. The word meaning doesn't change. The Shabdartha doesn't change. That is common for everybody. But the understanding is not common. How you receive it is not common. So in that sense, it is the advanced student receiving it in a different way. Though the Shabdartha, the word meaning is the same, that doesn't change. Like if you know the English language, you are that, doesn't change to anybody. If you know the Sanskrit language, Tattvamasi, doesn't change. So the Shabdartha doesn't change. One. Second, knowing the word meaning is not understanding the Mahavakya. If you know the word meaning, and if you can elaborate on the word meaning, doesn't mean that you have understood the Mahavakya.
Right.
Yes, so it is, what is it that is stirring in you? Should stir something in you. You hear that, you come out different. That is the Mahavakya. So in that sense, these are all not sequential. Second, deeper than that is, The Upanishads themselves are not sequential thought flow books. These are all spontaneous. The Upanishads themselves were spontaneous utterances. So you will never find any sequential development of thought flow in the Upanishad. That is why we don't recommend Upanishad at all to study. Why we don't recommend Upanishad to people to study, and everybody wants to study the Upanishads only. And they think that there is something so mystical in it, and if you study Upanishad, you will come out better. There is nothing like that. We are not trained to think in a non-sequential method. We are trained to think sequentially. Since we are trained to think sequentially, better to read a book that is sequential in nature to understand the basics first. Upanishads are not sequential books. You take up any Upanishad, you can never find a thought flow, a topic flow as in Bhagavad Gita, as in Bhajagovindam, as in Atma Bodha. Because of it non-sequential, because of it not systematic in nature, that is why it's called Vedas. It's spontaneous, inspired utterances, not sat and wrote. When you sit and write only, you can be sequential. When you are spontaneous, you cannot be sequential in an inspired, spontaneous state. Others will find a sequence in it, but that person doesn't bother about making it sequential. That is where you find Upanishads like Brihadaranyaka or Chandogya. You will find that they will be talking about so many things. Randomly, it will start with something. Now let us talk about horses. The Upanishad starts like that. Let us talk about meditating on a horse. Now, what do you meditate on a horse? In that, suddenly a thought will come. A rare gem will come. That is Mahavakya. That is Mahavakya. It's not a logical, sequential preparation culminating in Mahavakya. It's a word that is said, a gem that we have to find amongst other pebbles. So don't understand Upanishads as a sequential textbook. Or there is a sequence. What is the sequence? Now I am contradicting myself. First I said there is no sequence. Now I am saying there is a sequence. What is the sequence? There is only one sequence. All that you think, all that you do is wrong. That's all. There's only two messages of an Upanishad. The first message is what? All your thought, word, and deed is flawed, completely, wholly, fully. Does that mean I don't do anything right at all? Does that mean I don't do anything right at all? The Upanishad says, yes, you don't do anything right at all. Correct. You don't do anything right, or whatsoever you do has no meaning. So all that you do, Upanishad will only call it as flawed, limited, foolish. That's it. It makes statements that it is foolish. It will not elaborate why it is foolish. It will simply make a statement by calling it as it's foolish. Now you can't turn back and ask. I'm sure. You can't send WhatsApp question and all to that person. Isn't it? Yeah, you can't send a question in WhatsApp and say, please take it up in the class. No, those kind of things won't happen with you. Can't, there's no, they only make statements will be made, and that's all. Whether you understand, if you don't understand that statement, you go back and ask them, what the Upanishad does, it will repeat the statement. It will not elaborate on that statement. It will repeat that statement, which is a very different style of education. Now, that style of education, we don't get trained at all. We are trained to educate ourselves in a what we call as methodic, sequential, logical, methodic, sequential, logical, methodic, sequential, scientific, analytical, foolish at the end. The end is foolishness. Can be whether you become foolish logically or illogically, what difference does it make? Foolishness is the ultimate. So what the Upanishad does, Upanishad takes a different stance. It's very noble, it's very grand, it's very extraordinary for the one who is already purified. For the one who has already done the sadhana, chatushtaya, sampat, etc. For the one who has already done karma, bhakti, sadhana, chatushtaya, shravana, manana, and all that properly, Mahavakya triggers something. For that person who has not done all these things, the words of the Upanishads, Mahavakyas, doesn't mean anything. That person will try to find a logical sequence. That's not the intended purpose. It is to make a statement, and the statement has to be a grand, noble statement. That's all. You follow? Therefore, is the Mahavakya sequential? In the original text, it is not sequential. Bhagavad Gita, the original text itself is sequential. Atma Bodha, the original text itself is sequential. Sequential means what? It will develop the thought flow for all different levels of students. Whatever level you are, you can find something in that. That is a sequential development of thought, like Bhagavad Gita, Atma Bodha, etc. You take a book like Upanishad. The Upanishadic book doesn't have this kind of development of thought and all. You follow? Isavasi Upanishad has 18 mantras. Of the 18 mantras, 6 mantras are repeated. It means for all practical purposes, only 12 mantras. For all, it's only 12 mantras. 12 mantras is divided into 7 topics. Means what? Each and every mantra becomes one topic by each and every mantra becomes one topic by itself. Now, what do you do there? What sequential thought flow you can develop out of it? You follow what I'm saying? Mandukya has 7 mantras, 8 mantras, that's all. Om. Nothing the person understands. You don't understand Om? Okay. Understand it as A, U, Im. Om is much better than A, U, Im, no? Venkatachalam. A, U, Im is more complicated than Om. Person says, no, I don't understand this also. A, U, Im also I don't understand. Oh, you don't understand A, U, Im also? Okay, doesn't matter. Understand it as waker, dreamer, deep sleeper. There are 3 Ore thought flow, Mandukya. There are 3 distinct and different from the 3 is the 4th. It's called Turiyam, full stop. That is Mandukya. Now, what thought flow you find in that? What sequential development of thought flow you can find in that? Kena Upanishad, if you take, I'm quoting all the Upanishads. Kena Upanishad, if you take, the student is coming and asking, Keneshidam Padati Parishidam Manaha, etc. The person is asking that question. What is the answer? If you ask a question, you take the person step by step to the answer. What is it that makes the eyes to see? What is it that makes the ears to hear? What is the answer? It is the eye that makes the eye to see. It is the ear that makes the ears to hear. How helpful is that answer? Actually, it is of no help at all. Because he is asking, what makes the eyes see? Kene shitam, kena, kena, kena. What makes? What makes? What makes? You should say. Clear. Wednesday class laketa, how we will say? The sense object, the sense organ, the mind, the intellect, all are enlivened. We will give one big story, isn't it? Upanishad doesn't go sequentially like this and all. What makes the eyes to see? Eyes. Shrotrasya shrotram, manaso mano, yet vachoga vachavu savu pranasya pranaha, chakshusas chakshu adimuchya dhiraha. The wise one knows this difference. What is the difference? It is the eye that makes the eyes to see. It is the ear that makes the ears to hear. So, இதே தமிழ்ல சொன்னா எப்படி சொல்றது விஜய்? எப்படி சார் பார்க்கிறோம்? கண்ணால பார்க்கிறோம். எப்படி கேட்கிறோம்? காதால கேட்கிறோம். Who understands that? Wise person understands that. That's all. Upanishad is over. Why are we wasting time glorifying these textbooks as something noble, great, extraordinary and all that? You follow what I'm saying? So they don't bother about developing a thought flow sequentially. Mundaka Upanishad. What is that knowing by which I know everything? What is that knowledge? You know that one thing, you know everything. Now, how can there be a knowledge like that? How can there be a knowledge where you know one thing, you know everything? You know law, you can only know law. By knowing law, you can never know medicine. By knowing medicine, you know medicine, but you can never know engineering. So, how can you know one thing by knowing that you know everything? That is the question. What is the answer? There are two types of knowledge. Ve vidye veditavye. Para chaiva paracha. This is para, this is apara. Apara belongs to the realm of ignorance. Para belongs to the realm of knowledge. The question is, what is para? He defines what is apara. What is knowledge? He's saying what is not knowledge. What is that knowing by which I know everything? That is the question. What is the answer for that? What is all not knowledge? So when all that is not knowledge is dropped, what remains is knowledge. Very unhelpful these Upanishads are. Very, very unhelpful. That is why traditionally we don't study Upanishads. We don't read Upanishads. Why? Because Upanishad is Nitidyasana material. You are supposed to, once you have purified and reached a very high level of growth, you take an Upanishad and contemplate on it. You don't sit and analyze an Upanishad. Or you can analyze an Upanishad. It's not that you cannot analyze. More you analyze, much more can be told. Because the profound, it's so deep. You follow what I'm saying? Therefore, is Upanishads a sequential? Is Mahavakya sequential? Upanishads themselves are not sequential. In that Upanishad comes the Mahavakya. So there is no sequence. There is no sequence at all. But then, when we say it is not sequential, you should not misunderstand it as a random, erratic text. It's not random, erratic text. For a purified mind, it speaks differently. That's the difference. You follow what I'm saying? So, when we say Upanishad themselves are not sequential, doesn't mean it is just, it's not random thoughts here and there. It's not like a book of, like for example, a book of quotations is a random book, no? Just so many things are gathered from so many places and put together. Clear? Upanishads is not random books like that. It's not a book of quotations.
For a layman,
For a lay person, it looks out of context. For a lay person, so many things in that will not make any sense. You follow? Lastly, Upanishads take up the most simplest, normal things to express the highest thought. We want a complicated, complex thought structure to understand the subtlety. See, anything complex and complicated is what we like. Why we like only complex and complicated stuff? Because ego can do something there. Because ego can sit and work on it, try and understand it, and then feel proud that it has cracked. The ego can feel, I have decoded, I have cracked. Upanishad doesn't do all that. It takes a very simple things. Urvarugamiva bandhanat mrityor mukshiya mamrita. It will take a cucumber and it will tell you what detachment is. It will not go into an elaborate description of it. It will take a cucumber and it will teach you what detachment is. It will take a rope and a snake and it will tell you what is Maya, what is Mithya. What is Sat and Asat is explained through rope and the snake. For everything, for anything to come, it needs three causes. The material cause, the instrumental cause, the intelligent cause. Padana karana, nimitta karana, all that. It will take a simple example, clay and pot, that's all. Upanishads are so simple that we cannot understand it. Again, I repeat, it's so simple a text, it's so beautiful a text, it is so innocent, it's so beautiful, it is so fantastic that we cannot understand it. Why? Because we are trying to crack it through intellect. We are still interested in intellectual cracking. Upanishad is meant for experiential cracking. The person doesn't want the intellect to crack. The person says, do you know it? If you know it, can you show me that? I don't want all your discourses. I don't want your elaboration. I don't want your lectures and all that. Do you know it? Yes. Then show me. You follow what I'm saying? Because of that longing and mumukshatu is so high, it can be made simple. When longing and mumukshatu is very high, you can give the most simplest things to understand the greatest truths. You follow what I'm saying? It's not complex at all, or it is so simple that it is difficult for a person to understand. Why? Because We have a logical fallacy in our thinking. We have fundamental fallacy in thinking. The fundamental fallacy in thinking is the truth must be complicated. If the truths were simple, I would have known it already. If it were so simple a truth, I would have known it already. The fact that I do not know it means it has to be complicated. This is how the ignorant. This is how ignorance works. Vijay, புரியுதா நான் சொல்றது? It says truths of life can't be simple. How do you say that? If it were so simple, I would have known it already. The very fact that I do not know it means it is not that simple. So what do they do? More a person complicates, more it looks appealing. More it is simplified, more it is getting very bored. You follow what I am saying? Why? Because it likes complications. And Upanishad keeps it very simple. So, Mahavakyas are not sequential by text. By understanding the spiritual progress, we take the Mahavakyas and create a sequence. Just as Sarvopanishado Ghavo Dokta Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsas Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Mahat. Where does it come? We have never heard all this before. Gita Dhyana. In the Gita Dhyana shloka, it says what Krishna did. He took the Upanishadic truths and made it into a beautiful garland. Sarvopanishado bhavo. The Upanishads are the cow, and Krishna, being a beautiful milk, he just milked it and gave out. So what we do here, Prajnanam Brahma, Tattvamasi, I am Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. Even though they were all in different places, it was taken up and a beautiful garland is made. Garland, I have seen that only here. Only here they make it. Madras da and the Kadambo Monomoram Kurungan we ask, isn't it? In all other places, there will be only one flower, one garland. I have never seen the Kadamba in any place. Has anybody seen Kadamba being sold in any place? You cannot see. You go to north, they will sell only. You go to north and all, only one flower, one garland. What is Kadamba here? Kadamba na enna? All the flowers taken and made it into a garland. Beautiful is that garland. You buy that flower, you can see a little bit of jasmine in it, you can see a little bit of rose in it, you can see a little bit of tulsi in it, you can see a little bit of marigold in it. Originally they were all separate. It's made into a garland. And when it's made into a garland, it is more appealing, understanding. That's what Mahavakyas have done. Different flowers in different places has been taken and strung together so that it's a beautiful garland. Example, Madras market la Kadambavnu vipanga. Vanamali, Krishna is called. Krishna is called Vanamali. Vanamali means he takes various flowers and makes it into a garland. That's what the great masters do. They take those various things, since they know the process, since they know the connection, they make it and bring it out for our understanding sequentially. Does the Upanishad say sequentially? No. The masters make it sequential for our understanding. Is it okay now? Ganesh? சரியா?
It's made into sequence.
Yes, it is made into a
For our
sequence
sake.
for our sake.
Recipients
Yes.
are not formed.
Yes. For our sake, it is made it for our sake, it's made into a sequence. Just as the various flowers are taken and made into a garland. Sarvopanishado bhavo dogdha gopala nandanaha. Upanishads, how he brought Krishna, how he brought all the Upanishadic things and milked it. The essence. Is it okay? Anything else? Yeah. There are, yeah, Anshu has got. Anshu, okay, you posted it here. Good. Can you read it?
Yes. Vedantic meditation is possible only after one drops most of the desires. Is
Yeah,
Nitidyasana at the level of meditation?
yeah. The question is, the Vedantic meditation is possible only after one drops most of the desires. Is Nitidyasana the same as meditation or different? Anshu. Now, originally, the word meditation implies deep thinking. The English word meditation means deep, penetrative thinking. It doesn't mean focusing on a dot. That is called staring. Okay. 100 years back, if you ask a person, are you coming home for dinner? The fellow will say, I'll meditate on it. When the word meditation is used, in what sense it is used? It is used in the sense of thinking. So, Nitidyasana means a contemplative thinking. In the way that we understand meditation today, which is a observation, not thinking. Nitidyasana is thinking. In meditation, we observe. What is the observation there? The matra, amatra, the sound silence. There's no thinking there. The moment thinking comes, you should not call it as meditation. What is the Sanskrit word for meditation? The Sanskrit word for meditation is of two. Nowadays they say Dhyana means meditation. Dhyana doesn't mean meditation. Dhyana means Nitidyasana. Dhyana means Nitidyasana. Dhyana doesn't mean meditation. Then what is the Sanskrit word for meditation? If I say the Sanskrit word, you will be utterly confused. The Sanskrit word for meditation is samadhi. Samadhi means self-realized state. Samadhi means meditative state. Our samadhi largrarpa, they say. It doesn't mean he is self-realized. He is meditative. So, what is meditation there? Even though we loosely translate dhyana as meditation, dhyana doesn't mean meditation. Dhyana means contemplative contemplation. So, is Nitidyasana and meditation the same? No. Nitidyasana is contemplative thinking. Meditation is being aware of the distinction. There is no thought process there. There is no analysis there. There is no nothing there. Just the awareness. What is awareness? Okay. As I am talking to you, if there is a drilling noise in the neighborhood, you can hear the drilling noise also. As you are listening to me, you are listening to the drilling noise also. But then you are focused on what I am talking, but the drilling noise still, you are aware of the drilling noise also. What is that called? That's called awareness. That's called focus. That's called samadhi. What we mean by meditation nowadays is a state of samadhi. Dhyana is not meditation. You understand the difference? That is why, if you remember, we gave when we did chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita, we spent 2-3 sessions on introducing the word meditation itself. I spent almost 3 sessions on just introducing what is the word dhyana means. There we saw that in detail. I am saying it again. Don't remember what is said half an hour back, how we will remember what is said in chapter 6 introduction. You follow? What is meditation? Meditation is an awareness where logic, reason is not involved. It's an awareness where no logic, no reason. It's a simple discrimination. What is the simple discrimination? Matra, amatra, sound, silence. What is Nitidyasana? Nitidyasana is a contemplative state. What does contemplative state means? As you do very many things, one part of you is focusing on one thing. That is called Nitidyasana. You can call junior level as Nitidyasana, advanced level as meditation. But Nitidyasana and meditation are entirely two different things. They are not the same. One part of the mother is focused on the child, irrespective of what the mother does. That is called Nitidyasana. One part of the mother is anchored on the child while she does everything else. She'll be cooking, washing, cleaning, talking, walking, sleeping. But one part of her is so anchored on the child. And that anchoring on the child doesn't disturb other activities. This is called Nitidyasana. Are you able to follow? You are focused on one thing very intently. Even though you are focused on one thing very intently, that will not disturb your other activities. This is called Nitidyasana. What is Dhyana? What is meditation? There are no many things and all in meditation. There is only one thing in meditation. What? Sound, silence. You chant the mantra, pause. How long you can hold the silence? Thought starts surfacing. When thought starts surfacing, you bring in the mantra again. There is no, it is not Nitidyasana. You follow the difference? Manana means for 1 hour you don't do anything and sit and study. That is called manana. Shravana is exclusive. Manana is exclusive. Nitidyasana is simultaneous. Shravana is exclusive. You don't do too many things and listen also. isn't it? If you are doing too many things and listening also, you lack concentration, isn't it? That's called lack of concentration. In reflection also, you sit and so Shravana is an exclusive practice. Manana is an exclusive practice. What is Nitidyasana? Nitidyasana is an inclusive thing. What is inclusive thing? As you do so many things, one part of you doesn't forget. How is it possible? How is it possible? By practice. Can't understand this, therefore an example is given. What is the example? Like the mother, even in deep sleep, she is aware of the child. Isn't it? It's not that she is not awake or anything. She is also fast asleep. The child turns this side, the child turns that side, the mother wakes up. What would you call that? This is called Nitidyasana. You follow? So, Shravana, Manana is exclusive. Nitidyasana is simultaneous. Meditation in the sense of single pointedness is different. So, in common Vedantic terminology, we will not use Nitidyasana and meditation synonymously. We will bring out the distinction. Is it okay, Anshu? Are you able to follow the difference?
Yes.
While doing Shravana, you do only Shravana. While doing Manana, you do only Manana. Exclusively, you do that. While doing Nitidyasana, you don't do exclusive Nitidyasana. As you are doing everything else, one part of you is anchored, training. Like the mother. The example that he uses in the text is, in the Vedanta treatise, is the Shruti. As you are anchored to the Shruti, you go through various tunes, various beat. You go through various tunes, ragas. You go talas, various beats, anchored on the Shruti. It's a training. That is Nitidyasana. What is Dhyana means? I'm using Dhyana in a very loose sense. I'm not using the word Samadhi to mean meditation, because nowadays we have started equating Samadhi with self-realization. So I'm using the word Dhyana. Om. Silence. Om. Silence. What are you aware of there? You are not aware of Om means Avu, Im, waking dream, deep sleep. All that will not come there. Om is a sound. There is a sound and there is no sound. There is a sound and there is no sound. That's meditation. You follow the difference, Anshu?
Yes.
Yeah. Another question you have, huh? How many questions she has got?
In one reference you mentioned, Sage Gaurapada answers to the questioner when he asked about the world.
Oh, okay.
He replies, I do not see the world. So if you can see it, you describe to me.
Yes.
So the question is, do the self-realized go through the waking dream and deep sleep? And
Yes.
Where does such interaction happens for the
Happen. Now, Anshu, Gaudapada is very dramatic. No, he's very dramatic. He's very different. Gaudapada. The only Acharya in the tradition where his book and Upanishads are mixed together. In all other Acharyas, the Upanishad is different. What they say is different. Only for Gaudapada, there is a unique status. So when you read Mandukya Upanishad, chapter 1, in the chapter 1 of Mandukya Upanishad, which has about 50 verses, the first 7 mantras are the Upanishads. So, in Mandukya Karika, which is chapter 1, again Mandukya Karika is divided into 4 chapters. Of the 4 chapters of Mandukya Karika, chapter 1, of that chapter 1, the first 7 mantras are only the Upanishads. After that, the Karika starts. A very rare privilege Gaudapada has. Why he has a rare privilege? Because he talks like this. You ask him, if you are something, it is your responsibility to describe it. Correct? When you are something, it is your responsibility to describe it. How can you ask somebody to describe that which you see and the other one doesn't see? How can you do that? Are you able to follow on? You see something. When you see something, whose responsibility it is to describe? You only have to describe. Correct? You go to a person who doesn't see what you are seeing. And when you ask that person to describe what that person doesn't see, but what you see, any answer that the other person gives will not satisfy you. That is why whatever Shastra says will not satisfy us. Whatever the Upanishad says will not satisfy us. Why? Because what we see, they don't see. Or what they see, we don't see. Bhagavad Gita, verse number 69, chapter 2. Yanisha sarva bhutanam sanisha pashyato munehe. Day and night, he says. Day and night is, what is day for you is night for them. What is your day? Okay, it's like America time and India time, isn't it? When we all go to sleep, Teresa will wake up, isn't it? When we are all ready, when we all go to sleep, he will wake up. When he wakes up, so 2 different worlds we are in. We don't live in the same world. You follow? Yanisha sarva bhutanam sanisha pashyato munehe. It means there are 2 distinct different experiences. So what Gaudapada says there is dramatic. If you come and ask an enlightened person, I am having a problem, how to deal with this problem? You come and ask an enlightened person how to deal with the problem. What he will say? Okay, what is the real answer? I am having a problem. What is the real answer? First of all, there is no you to have a problem. Only if you are there, there is a problem. Or as long as you remain, what will remain? Problem will be there. That's all. This is Gaudapada. This is Upanishad. You follow? For you don't have a problem. You are the problem. Anshu, you are not a problem. Yeah, you are not, don't think. Gaudapada is saying that, I am not saying. I have a problem. Upanishad will turn back and say, you don't have a problem and all. You are the problem. Where do these two meet? Is there a meeting point between these two people? There is absolutely no meeting point. And yet, there is a meeting point. Where do they meet? The meeting point happens where there is a longing. Where does such interactions with the seeker happen? Anshu, that's the question. Where does such interactions with the seeker happen? Interaction happen only when there is a longing. What is the longing? One person is longing to communicate the truth. Another person is longing to know the truth. Again, I repeat. One person is longing to communicate the truth. Another person is longing to know the truth. When they two meet, there is an interaction. Even this interaction is on a relative plane only. On an absolute plane, there is no interaction at all. But we are not taking that stance. We are talking about the interaction that is happening on a relative plane. Are you able to follow, Anshu? So Gaudapada says, okay, all enlightened masters are Gaudapadas only. Anybody goes to Ramana Maharshi with a problem, after 1 hour he'll give an answer. What is the answer? Find out who's having the problem. After 1 hour he'll give an answer. Find out who has the problem. I have a problem. I know. What is that I? Find that out. Find that I first. And then. When the king went to meet Buddha, he told Buddha, I'm not able to hold my mind. I'm not able to keep my mind under control. I'm not able to hold my mind. What should I do? That is question to Buddha. And you know what Buddha said? Where is the mind? Have you brought your mind with you? He asked. Have you brought your mind with you? If you have brought your mind, then I will answer it. But these kind of statements are absolutely no help to us at all, isn't it? Therefore, what do they do? After what do they do? They cooperate with us, pretending that there is a problem that they are trying to solve. So they cooperate with us. What is the cooperation? They pretend. What is the pretension? They'll also agree, there is a problem. Now that he has agreed that there is a problem itself, he is so satisfied. And then comes the solution and all. The reality is, you don't have a problem. You are the problem. Okay. The guru will say, you don't have a problem, you are the problem. What should you say? Neenaba solluva, Vijay. Adhe thirupi yunu guruku sollakudadu. Clear? What should you say? You don't have a problem, you are the problem. The guru sonnarna. What should you say? I don't have a problem. I am the problem. You don't say that. Yeah, what should you say? You don't say you back to him. Yeah. Then who's telling whom here? So what you should say? He will say you are the problem. Definitely, sir. Guru, you are the problem. Yeah, gurus are problematic only. Yeah, guru nale problematic people are the guru. Do you know? Ignorance will be consistent. Wisdom is inconsistent. Take it or leave it. Wisdom is inconsistent. Why it is inconsistent? Because things are changing. When everything is changing, they also keep changing. Ignorance is consistent. Wisdom is, you don't say erratic. You don't say erratic. You say wisdom is spontaneous. A consistent person is an ignorant person. Abada, we are all not, since we are not consistent in anything, you are all wise people, sir. No. What it means is different. You follow what I'm saying? A truly wise person goes with the changes so fast that it will be very difficult for us to comprehend that. Wisdom is inconsistent. That's why Krishna is so tremendously inconsistent. Bhagavad Gita is inconsistent. Vedas are inconsistent. Upanishads are inconsistent. Why? Because mati pesarangalla, isn't it? What was Arjuna's problem in Bhagavad Gita? Prajnavadamscha bhashase, Arjuna, Krishna told to Arjuna. What did Arjuna say? Tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyoham apniyam. He said, mati pesada, he said. Mati means don't keep changing, stick to one. Krishna says, how can I stick to one when everything is changing? You follow what I'm saying? So Gaudapada makes it very dramatic. Actually, Gaudapada doesn't make it dramatic and all. We make him sound very, very dramatic. So he says, whose responsibility is to describe the snake? The one who is seeing the snake or the one who is seeing the rope? Who should describe the snake? We say the one who is saying there is no snake at all is the one who has to describe the snake. Gaudapada says, what absurdity it is. I said by mistake, Anshu. That I said by mistake. I never expected you will listen to all this so intently and come and clarify also. Where does interaction with the seeker happen? The interaction with the seeker happens where there is a longing. Mumukshatva is the longing. In English, we call it as longing. In Sanskrit, we call it as mumukshatva. Where there is mumukshatva, there is a interaction is possible only where there is a mumukshatva. Do the self-realized to go through waking, dream and deep sleep state? No. It's called turiyam. One who is established in the turiyam doesn't go through waking, dream, deep sleep. But we are seeing him go through. He says, I don't do, it is the instruments that are doing. For me, there is no waking state. For me, there is no dream state. For me, there is no deep sleep state. The instruments go through that. And I am disconnected from the instrument. You follow? I am disconnected from the instrument. Since I am disconnected from the instrument, I am not going through that. This is answering the question. Did I answer you in any way, Anshu?
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you.
Is it helpful? Yeah, okay. Yes. Venkatachalam, what is your problem now? You are the problem now, he's coming up with the problem, isn't it? What is his problem? It appears that Samadhi is isolating the mind from the world and Nitidyasana is staying with Brahman all the time. Venkatachalam.
Yes.
இது எங்க இருந்து காப்பி பேஸ்ட் இது?
No, I was wondering because almost, I mean, we are talking about Jivan Mukta. If we have to do dhyana only through samadhi process,
Yes.
so literally a Jivan Mukta is not possible in the traditional method, in the traditional way of meditating.
Yes.
Only possible if you are constantly focused, seeing Brahman everywhere. And the example you gave, the mother always, the eye is on the child or the thought is with the child. So the possibility exists only with such a process of Nitidyasana that you can be a Jivan Mukta.
Yes.
I mean, even if you have to ignore the three states of mind, waking, dreaming, it is not that your instruments, you are aware that instruments are following the three states, but you ignore or you don't consider that because you are so focused only on Turiam.
Yes,
on
this
consciousness.
This is not Jivan Mukti.
Okay.
This is not Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti is a state where Anirvachaniyam, full stop. No words describe that.
Okay.
No words describe that. When you say Jivan Mukti, that Mukti is beyond description. The moment we try to describe it, we have fallen from Mukti to a lower level. So the moment we talk about Mukti, liberation, that's why we concluded last week in Aham Brahmasmi, there is no liberation there.
Correct.
So who's a Jivan Mukta? A Jivan Mukta is one who is not a liberated one. The Jivan Mukta is one who says, when was I ever bound? When was I ever bound to say that I am liberated now? That is Jivan Mukti. Rest are all processes. Nitidyasana will not say, when was I ever bound? Nitidyasana is trying to do something. Meditation is also trying to do something. So, Shravana is an action. Manana is an action. Nitidyasana is an action. Meditation is an action. Jivan Mukti is not an action.
Action. It's a state of mind.
It's a state. It's a state. Again, you can't even state of mind and all, because all that we say for practical purposes to say that
the ignorance is gone.
If you develop an understanding where, if you can say, bondage never existed in the first place, you cannot say that. That is liberation. What is liberation? Liberation, if at all you want to put liberation in words, put it like this.
Bondage never existed.
Bondage never
existed.
Just as snake was never there. Snake was never there. You follow?
Yes. Now, my initial point was only about the samadhi versus nididhyasana.
Correct.
It appears more intellectual, if I can say that word, intellectual process or knowledge-based process
Yes.
rather than
Nitidyasana
isolating the mind.
Nitidyasana is knowledge-based process. Meditation, samadhi is just a simple discrimination of sound silence.
Sound silence.
That's all. Don't complicate it.
Yeah.
Nitidyasana is knowledge-based.
Knowledge based.
Meditation is a very simple discrimination. A very simple discrimination of sound, silence. Sound, silence. That's why for meditation, you should never have a meaningful word.
Okay.
That's why it will be any random sound. A random sound is that which is useful in meditation.
Meditation.
Samadhi. Because it should not trigger any thought.
Triggering thought. So free
What you
mind.
are talking as isolating the mind from the world and all that is wanting to run away from the world because of a difficulty in the world.
Difficulty in the world.
That's why I want to isolate. Why do I want to isolate? Because going there is disturbing.
Yeah.
So
But if you were to,
in meditative state, there is no disturbance. In Jivan Mukti state, there is no meditator.
meditate.
In the state of meditation, there is the meditator. In
Meditate.
Jivan Mukti state,
There's no meditator.
avladhan. Very simple.
But if
Meditation is
somebody
there.
were to
Meditation isn't there.
somebody were to come out of samadhi, and I mean, if samadhi is a process that is followed coming in and coming out
You don't come out of samadhi and all. Thoughts will bring you out automatically.
automatically.
You don't go into the room and lock the door. You don't open the door and come out. Samadhi
No.
meditation is
I
not
mean,
like that.
Yeah, I'm
That's
saying
what
if you come out of samadhi,
Like that. That's how people are talking. As though I can go into a room, lock myself up,
Yeah.
and then unlock and come out.
yeah,
Meditation doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
The pressure of thoughts will bring you out of samadhi.
samadhi. So
The pressure of thought. So you don't make an effort to come out. It will come out by coming out is automatic. You follow?
so then again you're disturbed by the thoughts,
Yes.
thoughts going random. So it
Yes.
is not a process which keeps you
Yes.
in the with what you're with the Brahman.
Correct. Correct. Brahmanodala vekkadu. Meditation will not keep you with Brahman and all.
Correct.
Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. In a split second, you know Brahman, you become Brahman immediately. There is no being with Brahman and coming out and going
Coming
back.
in. Yeah.
The moment you come out and go back means you are doing it's an action.
Action. Okay.
There is a doer. Remember that. In meditation, is there a doer?
No.
In meditation, is there a doer? If there is a doer, it is called meditation. If there is no doer, it is Jivan Mukti.
Okay.
As long as there is a doer,
It's a meditation.
that's all. It's an action. So meditation is also an action only.
Yes.
Action means you get in, get out. You start an action, you stop the action. Where is the problem?
Yeah.
You don't start Jivan Mukti and stop Jivan Mukti. That is not possible there.
That's not possible.
You follow? Venkatacharya.
Yeah.
So whenever we talk about meditation, ask yourself this question. Is there a doer?
Very good.
If there is a doer, it is not Jivan Mukti. That's all. Keep it very simple.
Yes.
And you can't be in a non-doer state for some time and then come back into doer state. No, that is not possible. That's not possible at all. You can temporarily suspend the thought by practice. Venkatachalam. Temporarily suspension of thought is not Jivan Mukti state.
Okay. It's a
You can temporarily suspend the thought by practice. By sheer practice, you can temporarily suspend the thought. And temporarily suspension of thought is not
Jivan
Jivan
Mukti.
Mukti. Why? Because
Because it's
the thoughts
because
come
you
back.
have to do an action. Yeah.
The thoughts come back. Understand the difference like that. You follow?
Yes.
Meditation, what people are practicing today as meditation is a temporary suspension of thought. In Vedantic language, for self-realization, that is not the temporary suspension of thought and all is not keeping you in that Brahman state for a while.
Okay.
Ramatirtha gives a beautiful example. I conclude with that. Ramatirtha says, a person want to impress the king and went into a meditative state. He suspended the thoughts, he suspended the breath for 6 months and then came back. When he came back, the first question he asked is, where is my horse? You understand that?
Yes.
புரியுதா? அவ்வளவுதான். இதெல்லாம் மெடிடேஷன் கிடையாது. You won't call that fellow meditated for 6 months. In the today's meditation school, we'll say he was in samadhi for 6 months.
Samadhi, 6 months.
He was not in samadhi and all for 6 months. He has temporarily suspended the thought, which can be a practice. You can practice it. As soon as you come out, the first question that meditator asks the king is, where is my horse? ஏன்னா அவர் மெடிடேஷன் பண்ற போறதுக்கு முன்னாடி what was he wanting? Impress the king and get a horse. Now that I have impressed you, give me the
horse.
இதுக்கு பேர் மெடிடேஷன் கிடையாது. This is not called meditation. This is not called samadhi. You follow?
Yes.
With this, we conclude for today and we continue.